Life is sweet. Let it sweep you off your feet.
Hi, this is Allie with Find Your Joy. Do remember to like and subscribe. I'm getting better at that. And today I am very excited because I'm having back the fabulously talented and awesome Smarty Pants, Dr. Carmen Carpenter. Hey, Carmen.
Hi, everybody.
And we are going to talk today about our upcoming retreat, which is November 1st to 4th. And we thought maybe we would share a little bit about. And now we're going to have to really dig deep and think, like, why are we doing a retreat? Like, why are we doing a retreat? What do we hope to accomplish in all of this? What kinds of things can people hope for? And I think I'm not allowed to say we're just hoping no deaths will occur, but we do hope
We
that.
for sure do hope that.
We for sure do. And, we want to talk a little bit about that. I mean, for years, first of all, know that for several years, this has been on the go. This has been something, and then COVID happened and, like everybody else, and things kind of had to wait. And we wanted to we've been slowly building a community and
Mhm.
reaching out and finding other people who are into different kinds of practices and what do they do for healing and how do we make it so that we're not competing, we're collecting
Yeah.
people. It,
Community, I think, is a great word.
yeah,
It's
a
not a
community.
competition. We're all in this wellness journey together, and it's important to
Yeah.
have a community of other practitioners and people that are interested in it and clients and everybody kind of working together towards that goal of health.
Yeah. And so that's see how smart she is? That's why we have her. And so we have this whole collection of people. And we thought, well, we want to start by doing retreats. Man, we sure would be liking to do them at least a couple a year and
Hmm.
make them in a way that it's affordable for people. We'd also like to not, lose a whack of money, which we're finding out, you could actually do that. You could, but you don't have to. You can do it in such a way you make it's affordable for people to come. And when they come, they're getting wellness treatments, they're getting community, they're getting workshops, and most importantly, I think that we've both been talking about this, is they take away, besides their little goodie bags, which yeah, there'll be swag
Hmm.
bags, but besides that, they take away the knowledge of how to continue to do this stuff on their own.
Yeah, it's a
Because
journey of self-love,
yeah.
right? A little bit of
Oh
self-care.
man. Aw. Well, that's the thing, right? Because one of the things that I love about when I go and have treatments with you is that I always leave there knowing a little bit more, even with a brain
Hmm.
injury. If I forget, don't worry about that. I learn a little bit of something. If my asthma's acting up, I know where my points are. I
Yeah.
know to do that. And you always equip people with that knowledge. And I think that this weekend is going to be this big, like self-love, love bomb, love fest, reconnect with ourselves. What is it we're any of us are even wanting to do? And so far, the women who are coming, well, they're entrepreneurs, they're people in healing practices themselves. We have amazing people coming, and we're going to be sharing and getting healthier and stronger and building community.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's a really great way. I think in our society and the way that our society just kind of runs, it's unfortunate, but it is what it is that we kind of lose touch with ourselves a little bit. And it's really easy to do. You focus on maybe it's getting your kids to school, maybe it's the job that you're doing, your career, keeping the house together, whatever that looks like. And we often, and I see this a lot in my practice, that people tend to forget to take a minute, pause, and be apart and be alone and connect with themselves so that they're able to function in all those other areas of life. And so I think really this weekend, that's what that's about. It's about unplugging. It's about being close to nature, putting your feet in the grass, having an opportunity to talk with other like-minded people. And then while you're at it, you get wellness treatments. Like, for example, myself will be giving acupuncture treatments. We'll be talking about Chinese medicine. We'll be talking about sound healing. There'll be interactive moments as well. And it's all about, hopefully you take away something and learn something from it, but really what it is putting you in a isolated state for 4 days with other like-minded people so you can really just take some time to focus on yourself
Yeah.
and do a lot of self-care that we often forget to do.
Yeah.
Even as practitioners, we forget to do it
Yeah,
as well.
it's true, right?
Mhm.
It's like this, it's we have this focus and we want to do this thing, and then all of a sudden I realized, oh, I was so busy in the business of self-care that I kind of forgot to even do that. I wanted to say another thing that's really exciting. So we have an amazing chef that is going to be doing the
Mhm.
catering. Ah! And man, I should have had her on here. We'll get her too.
Yeah.
So Megan is amazing from Y2Y Caterers. She is a Red Seal chef. She is all about farm to table stuff. She
Mhm.
has incredible connections with other people who, like her buddy makes coconut. Oh my gosh, coconut cream yogurt. And I
Mm.
mean, like she's like, oh, and we can source from this person. And she's so into community as well. And she does great vegan dishes. She does great and non-vegan dishes, just all of this stuff. So I'm really excited that she's gonna be a part of it because she has like her food is we're going to be everything is about wellness and art and healing that we're doing. And that is everything that she does. Her food is all about feeding our bodies in a healthy way. And it is art. Like I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, well, I want to
Yeah,
eat it
check out, you
because
got to
it's
check out her Instagram page and look at the food that she's
right.
creating. It's beautiful.
I know. I was like, and so we're gonna have some of the things that we'll do will be a family kind of sit down meal, but we're also
Mhm.
gonna have a plated one where she's gonna be so fancy, and I'm we're gonna feel so. We'll have to wear our dress up pajamas for that
I
one.
was gonna say we'll show up to her fancy dinner in her sweatpants all together.
I'm like, if someone wants to bring fancy, you just go
You
for
do
it.
you. I'll
Myself,
be there
I'm
in
thinking.
sweatpants myself, but
Yes, I might wear fancy pajamas for that
yeah.
one. I like, I'm so excited about it. Yeah, so it's a really good point about how people forget so much about self-care and disconnecting.
hmm
And
And I
connect,
think like with what you do with the sound healing in that time that people are getting a sound bath from you, they're doing exactly that. When they're
yeah,
coming to see me for acupuncture in that half hour that they're sitting on the table without communicating with me, I even, or while you're, playing the bowls, so they're not actually communicating with you in that moment. That what we both do is we're kind of forcing people into that state, but it's just such a short
yeah,
stint. So this is giving us an opportunity to stretch that out over, 4 days, basically.
yes, yeah. It's exciting, and that we're going to have the fabulous Anita with us. I mean, I'm so
Mhm.
excited about that. So if you don't know Anita yet, go check her out. I mean, Anita does, well, she's an NLP practitioner and trainer. So NLP is neuro linguistic programming, and basically in the short form, and I hope I do say this correctly. It's really learning how to reframe the way we think. When I think of one of the things that's amazing that NLP does is like if I think of, I've just said think about 14 times in one sentence. I think that could be a record. And I
You
think,
need to rethink that.
I can, I think maybe somebody will give me an award for that. Often when we're processing something, we'll say something like, I just can't stop thinking about, or I can't get that picture out of my mind that time that this thing happened, when a trauma occurs or something like that. And it's very much as a freeze frame in our mind about, and it's trapped in that spot. And we replay that a lot. And a lot
Yeah.
of what NLP does is unpack that and help us to reframe how we see that. So that's one of the things that she does. She has this whole program that she created by design that really helps people to take, this is where I am, this is where I want to be, where's the little missing path between that. And that's one of the things that she's going to be doing, a little bit of a version of that.
I'm excited to
I
listen to
know. I'm
that, to be
like, yes,
honest.
I know, right? It's so there's just there'll be sound baths. There's going to be a lot of things. We're not even revealing everything yet, but so we're excited about that. And I love that one of the things that the first things that you did when we were looking at words for it was you came up with the reconnecting part, and then well, mostly you came up with the reconnecting with self part.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that because I think that is something that's missing because often we try to reconnect with, I mean, it's great to reconnect with nature and it's great to reconnect with our partners and it's great to all of those things, but
For sure.
until we reconnect with self.
And that can be on so many different levels. I mean, even just relating it back to my own practice, I'm teaching you how to reconnect with your own physical body to be able to notice that this feels weird. Or if I do A, B, C, and D, this is what the outcome is because now I'm paying attention to what I'm doing in my life. So you spend your hour with me, but you take away
Yes.
that reconnection to self out into the world. And so this is again just taking it to another level where we have multiple days to work through that through multiple different avenues. So we're not just looking at the Chinese medical avenue anymore. We're now, looking at sound healing and NLP and all the little workshops and art therapy that we're going to be doing. And
Yeah.
so it's taking all these different modalities, I guess you could say, and blending them together in a really beautiful way to just feel comfortable again with yourself and to feel a little bit at peace. That's kind
Yeah.
of, I think, one of the goals is that we want people to leave feeling at peace with themselves and feeling settled, settle their nervous systems, and reset a
Yeah.
little bit too.
Reset. Right. The retreat, reconnect, reset, all the re's.
Revive,
Right. Right.
all the
It's
R's.
all the re's, all of them. It's a re and re job. I think
Yeah.
that's a mechanical term. However, I think that it works. And I like too that a lot of the things that we've been doing have like today, I was with a client today and there was a time where we needed to get some energy moving. I was doing a vibrational sound therapy session, and I was remembering something that a really amazing mentor and friend and healer that I know had taught me in my own life about changing up how we breathe. And so it was, we don't recognize that we kind of breathe vertically. People tend to
Hmm.
breathe vertically. And when we start to breathe horizontally and bring and expand that out. So there I was, and I was chatting, and then all of a sudden I thought, and she was telling me what was happening for her. And I thought, I remembered this thing. And so I've been sharing that with my clients.
Mm.
And just right in the middle of a sound session, we just switch up and go into this whole breathing thing and then go back into the tranquility of it all. And I'm watching things that shift and change. And I'm going, this is integrated health at its
Yeah.
finest. It means I'm doing the sound thing and someone says to me, this thing is happening to me. And I tell them, well, I don't know a lot about meridians, but here is what Carmen taught me. And that is what I believe you are explaining to me at this
Yeah.
exact moment. And then, oh, I feel stuck right here. Well, let's try this thing. That's amazing. My friend Jeff taught me that. And it's just, and we are collectors. And we're
Hmm.
collecting all the way along, all this different information. And then that's what makes it so beautiful is that it's not, this is the thing I do.
Yeah.
I bring so much of my experience as a disability case manager, my years in ministry, just in the counseling that I used to do. It's just all a big bag of tricks, and this is who we are, and this is what we do.
Mm.
I love it. And sometimes, now, if you go to Goji Wellness, every once in a while, you'll get to have a little, what is it called? A therapy dog treatment.
Every once in a while.
Every once in a while, they're just
Those are my
nice.
favorite work days. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, that's right. Front and end.
30.
Yes, it's just so it's just all a big blend.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of something that you and I have been developing, at least between the two of us, for a while. We've been doing the
Yes.
acupuncture and sound bath sessions
Yes.
together and blending our two specific modalities plus everything else that I've learned outside of kindness and everything else that you've learned. We bring it
Yes.
all into one room, um, and we share it with you. The whole purpose of everything that I do, that I'm sure that you do too, Allie, is to share that knowledge with people. Like it's not,
Yes.
this is not a, this is my knowledge and you can't. It's not my knowledge either. Like, like I'm passing it on to you. And I think that we've been seeing that progression and how you and I can work together as two very different modalities, both in the wellness world, but different modalities,
Mhm.
and can bring that together. And we've had clients tell us that have had each in separately how much more powerful that was having the two together.
Yeah.
Um, and we've done a few sessions. We have another one coming up in October as well in Brentwood Bay on the 11th. But
Yes, at Funky Town, another great place. Get shout out, woo woo, Funky
yeah,
Town, Brentwood Bay.
but it's all those, I think that's where our whole retreat idea kind of started to stem from. We started doing these little ones and saw the beauty of
Yes.
that and thought about bringing in other things that are outside of our scope of practice or our level of knowledge so that we can create this whole well-rounded wellness retreat. I guess that's
I
basically what
guess
it
that's
boils
what
down
we're
to.
doing. I guess that's what we do now. Everyone's like,
Yeah.
what's your next one? Well, we haven't had this one yet. Yeah, and I think it's a good idea that we come and we share a little bit about it. Well, for people who are wondering if they want to come, for people who want to know what's out there, and for people that want to know what it is that we're doing. And I think, man, if anything talks about finding joy, it's I was talking today with someone about the exchange that when we're working with people who are actively engaged in their own healing process, it's just such an amazing, it's an amazing collaboration.
Hmm.
And then when we add on to that different people, I loved one time when we did a group, um, our bowls and balance, a
Both, yeah.
sound, yeah, sound and acupuncture. I mean, there are people who are just like, oh my God, they were just like, I don't know if I can even get up again. That was so powerful. It was so in a beautiful way, and I
Yeah.
was, and I think that part of that is, yes, the actual treatment. So there is the vibrations and the energy from sound, and there is the energetic motion of the pins themselves, and then the combination of them. And then I'm going to go further and deeper. Because we know I'm going to. I think that there's the energy of collaboration, of mutual respect that comes into play with that.
Hmm.
And I think that that's a big deal. I think that that's really how healing can occur.
I think there's
That's
something really powerful too about experiencing that with other people that are going through that same
yes,
treatment, so to speak, session with you. So like when
yes,
we do the group sessions, it's more than just one person that's getting both. And same without a retreat, it's obviously going to be more than one person. And you're going to
yes.
all be experiencing that together and feeding off of each other a little bit and going on that journey together. And I think there's a really big power to that bond that's created in those moments, whether it's spoken or unspoken, there is something to that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, I agree. I think that it's just something that's well, I think we're just watching it grow.
Hmm.
It's not we didn't invent this. People have been doing this for
No,
centuries
no.
and millenniums, but it to be part of it feels magical.
Hmm.
A scientific magical, of course, but it's
I think we
awesome.
talked about that one of our last podcasts we did together. And I actually had a chat with a friend of mine who's a massage therapist as well. I just saw him the other day. We were talking about the science behind it and how some people are they really need to know like the step by step, what's the science, where's the research articles, what does that look like? And that exists. I'm not denying that exists. But if you feel better after you get the treatment, do you really need to read the paperwork behind it? I can sit here and explain to you the philosophy behind Chinese medicine for sure, if you want to
Yes.
spend, the next 5 years of your life listening to me talk. Or You just accept that you might have felt a change, and hopefully for the better. And I think that can
Yeah.
happen with any sort of wellness or alternative health or whatever term you want to throw on it. Any
Yes.
of those kind of treatments, right? Like I said, I was talking to a massage therapist, so he experiences that in his practice as well.
Right, right.
Hmm.
Well, it's interesting. I think that, well, questions are good. Questions are good, and
For
knowledge is
sure.
great. And
Mhm.
at the end of it all, when we walk away and we're feeling more connected to ourselves, more connected to those around us,
For sure.
healthier, stronger. I wanted to say, I don't know if I don't remember. Well, we know I don't remember, so let's full stop. I wanted to say that if I hadn't, I know I've told you this, that so a few years back, so I have quite severe asthma. And I'm just going to give a woot to acupuncture and you specifically. So the first time I was tested, they put you, I can't remember, it's some of a respiratory test. You go into the hospital, they put you, I call it the Pope Mobile. You sit in that little glass cave thing and you do all this breathing stuff and they test your capacity for your respiratory capacity. And it just escapes me right now, the actual test's name, but anyway, so the first time I had it, I was moderately severe. And the next time, some years later, I had it, I tested as severely asthmatic. And then I had COVID, and then I ended up with kind of a long COVID. It impacted my breathing for about 6 months. And my doctor sent me again because she wanted to determine if it was indeed long COVID, was it COPD, like what exactly was going on. Well, by the time I got into the test, I was still having some issues with the long COVID thing, right? In
Mhm.
terms of going for a little walk or whatever. But I had the test, and my doctor phoned me and said, okay, so I just wanted to let you know that you are borderline asthmatic. And I said, um, pardon?
I love
And
that she
she,
says it as a negative thing, not
yeah,
not
yes,
you're
because
not.
she didn't know because she's my new doctor, right? So
Yeah,
she hadn't been there with all those tests.
yeah,
She thought she was informing me of something that I was going to be sad about.
yeah.
And she said that, right? She said, yeah. And I said, well, how how does that work? Because, I was, moderately severe and then severe with the exact same test before. And she said, "Oh, well, maybe some different things are triggering you." Like we were just trying to sort it out. And I said, "Well, the only difference for me, the only difference that has happened is that I have spent the last 2 years getting acupuncture specifically for my lungs."
Regularly too. You've been very
Yes.
committed to it.
Yes, yes. It is a commitment, right? I mean, it's a commitment of your time. It's a commitment of your resources. You have to, I decided this mattered to me. I thought, you know what? I like breathing. Why don't I imagine that? Why don't I try this thing? And that's what I did. And so I've been telling her about it. And even with these other things that are going on, I tell her every once in a while, oh, well, my doctor of traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncturist, Dr. Carmen Carpenter, um, uh, we were talking about, shrinking, just different things, shrinking cysts in a kidney, fixing your lungs up and doing the different, and that it can do this impact. She goes, this is very interesting. So she's, perked her interest.
Yeah,
For me, it was okay. So if we would like scientific proof, here it is.
exactly.
I wasn't looking for that. I was not looking for it to actually reverse my asthma,
Hmm.
but that is what happened.
Even as a practitioner hearing that happen, like I know in my head with the power of Chinese medicine and acupuncture and herbs and everything, I know what I practice is a
Yes,
really powerful medicine. I know that, but
yes,
there's so much, it still blows my mind. Like it blows
yes,
my mind that you went from severely asthmatic to borderline asthmatic,
right?
or other clients that have had various health issues resolved. And when it happens and they come back and see me, I'm probably more surprised than they are, to be honest. They're kind of like,
Yes,
it's like, yeah, it just blows my mind. 'Cause sometimes, I'm like, are these needles really doing anything? I think they
yes,
are, but
yes. Well,
Proof is
because it's
amazing.
not, I get it. It's not a broken arm that you put in a cast.
Yeah.
It's not a ruptured appendix that you remove. And it's a something that, it's a commitment. It takes time. It's not, well, here we are. Allopathic medicine is amazing for an acute condition. I'm not going to go and have a sound bath when, if I have a broken arm or my appendix is ruptured. I'm not going to go and get acupuncture if, my gallbladder has just exploded and I've got stones going everywhere. I need to go to a hospital for these things. We get that. We're not, I am never going to be saying, go off all meds and
Oh my goodness, if you showed up to my office in that state, the first thing I'd probably do is call you an ambulance and be like, get out of
well,
here. You gotta
Well,
go.
I can say that. I know that for sure because before I had my gallbladder removed and I was seeing you and we were working on gallbladder meridians, you said to me, you need to go and get an actual x-ray because, this could be a life or death situation. Well, and it ended up kind of being, but,
Turns out you actually had to be there. So.
yeah. So it was, but it was like that. And that's the other thing that I like about what we do is we value and respect and
Mhm.
all forms. I would never say to someone, well, but like you, when someone comes, like a construction worker that comes quite regularly for a sound bath and comes with his back hurting and leaves and it's not hurting anymore. I'm
Mhm.
like, and I'm trying not to act so shocked. Like, really?
Yeah.
You're back? That's awesome. Yes, I
Those are the best
love.
clients because you just opened their eyes to a whole new world of
Yeah.
wellness that they weren't open to at all. They come to yourself or myself or RMT or whatever practitioner as a
Yes.
last resort, and you make a difference in their life. And then now, your client or clients that I have had that, their wife made them the appointment and they had to show up kind of thing, didn't really want to be there. But we make a difference. And usually it more often than not ends up being back pain. That's
Yes.
common. And I mean, it's not, I don't want to say it's always easy to treat, but it's one of the easier conditions to treat, assuming that everything else is functioning properly. And
Right.
their minds are always blown. And then all of a sudden they're looking at sound baths, they're looking at RMTs, they're looking at going to yoga class, or their mind has been open to all these other things that they've been
Yes.
missing out on. And I think that, again, to come back full circle, is about reconnecting with yourself and listening to your body and being like, okay, this is what we've been told in a Western society is I have to take these medications, do these 5 stretches or whatever, which please always do your stretches. That I'm a biggest advocate for that. That's really
And take
important.
your medications,
And
just
take your
saying.
medications that are required. But
Yes.
we've been pushed that narrative as far as healthcare goes. And I do think that things have been shifting ever since COVID because there's been some disappointment, I guess you can say, in the Western healthcare system to a certain extent. Um, so I feel like there is a shift happening and more of an awareness. Um, but I just think that when you open somebody's eyes to that's when they're reconnecting with themselves. That's when they start paying
Yeah.
attention to their body. Because when you're in a sound bath, you ask somebody, "What are you experiencing in this moment?" Nobody ever really asks them that, you know.
It's true. And I was thinking too, well, a few things that I was thinking about was, well, first of all, that we usually spend an hour with a person.
Hmm.
So there's that.
There's time to
There's
get
time.
there.
There's
Yeah.
time. And the medical system isn't wired for that. So
No.
I get it. I mean, my gosh, there's
Oh, for
amazing
sure.
doctors and practitioners of all kinds out there, and they have saved my life and the life of people that I love. And I love that.
Hmm.
There's also, like you said, when you're sitting there chatting with someone, like for me, someone's with me for an hour. You are medically trained. I am not. I am trained through sound, and there is the portion of how it impacts on the body.
Hmm.
It's much different with you. So I'm being very clear on that. So, but when someone's with me and they're talking to me about things, so that's my first thing. Like we've been into this already 20 or 30 minutes. We're still together. And
Hmm.
that person is still able to tell me what they're experiencing, what's happening for them. Now, my background, I have, ministerial counseling, that sort of thing. My mind is often, where can I send them? Like
Yeah,
they're here and this is what's happening with them. But also, I mean, I'm sending them everybody to you that because I know firsthand
yeah,
what's going to happen for them if they do that. Also, though, if they come and there's something else happening, I'm telling them, you know, you need to see your doctor. If you don't
for
have a
sure.
doctor, you need to be calling 811 or, you know, something like that. But
Yeah.
anyways, I digress.
But
I
again, I think it all comes full circle back to our retreat and reconnecting with self and
Yes.
recentering. And, with what we do in our healing work, we are, I don't want to say forcing because that's not the right word, but we're opening up the door so that somebody's capable of doing that. And we're
Yeah.
giving people an opportunity with this retreat to come and explore that for more than just the hour that they have with us. They're going to have us from the first to the fourth. So that's a lot of access to a lot of practitioners that you
Yes.
don't usually get to have. And
Yes.
to be able, and we're going to be there working through things with you and the conversations we're going to have and the workshops we're going to do. And then what Anita's bringing in is a whole other level that I don't even personally know a lot about, and I'm really excited to learn about. We
Yeah.
all get to learn together and be able to feed off of each other's gaining of knowledge, I guess you could say. And
Yeah.
then again, being able to leave and reconnecting, and maybe that one thing that you told them about a certain sound level or the way to paint this has really stuck with them, or me telling them that, this food is best for you during the season. That's something that's really sticking,
Right.
and that's something that they can take away with. And again, it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to use what I do for an example. Like, we're talking about food, and you're somebody who's always had digestive upset, and we talk about seasonal eating, and you take that away, you're going to walk away and sit there and think, okay, Carmen talked about this at the retreat, and now you're connecting and thinking in your body and seeing
Right.
how you're feeling. And, did that salad on a day when it's -5 outside sit well? No, probably didn't. But I remember now we talked about this. There's a reason behind all of it. And so you're paying attention. And
Yeah.
and again, it's not just about the physical, it's about the mental, the emotional, the spiritual. It's all those layers it's all one. Like, I know
Yes.
I can speak to Chinese medicine that's not separate. Mind, body, and soul are all, we're treating the whole thing. So even when I was treating your lungs, you know, if you don't mind me sharing a little bit, but the
No.
lungs in Chinese medicine are in charge of grief. And
Mm.
there's a lot of history there. And so that's something that we were always working on. And so I wasn't just
Yes.
like, this is your lung organ and we need to fix it up. And I'm going to stick a needle here because that opens up your bronchioles. But I was working on moving through grief so that your lungs could
Yes.
open up and breathe again.
Yes. And I love and yes, absolutely. I love to share that too because when people are
Mhm.
coming with me, I'm thinking I know my personal experience, right? And a lot of what we were doing was my brother was in hospice during it. I
Yeah.
mean, there's a bit of grief going on, right? Like and so even still, right? I mean, well, it does two things. It reminds me, here's the thing that having the tools now myself. So now if something starts happening and I'm like, my throat's a little raw because I've been singing a lot, but that's okay. But it's reminding, okay, so if my breathing starts to get a little bit funny and I'm looking, okay, I'm not actually around something, but I am processing something. In a few days, it's going to be the anniversary of my mom's death, right? And so I'll think, oh, okay, so let's process that.
And that's
I can
you
still do my
reconnecting with yourself.
acupressure points,
Yeah, for sure.
still doing those, and remembering, okay, so if this is about grief, then what I'm is there something, first of all, is there something that I'm not aware of? All of these things, it's going to be like an awesome retreat. And
Mm.
the only, the only part is that it's got to be small, right? So there's only a few spaces left,
Yeah.
because it is our intention to make it small. We want it to be intimate. We want it to be, so we're only filling up about half of what we can. So
Yeah.
we can have 23 people, we're having 12. We're not going over that because we want it to be very small. We want every single person to know that they are just completely covered and it's like a little cocoon,
Yeah.
a little bubble, a
A little
little
Port
love bubble.
Alberni
Yes,
cabin cocoon.
yes, that's right. That's right. Wow, so that's awesome. Is there anything left to say about this, Steve? Well, there's probably lots, but
I'm sure, but
yeah,
there's more to come. I mean, I highly recommend you follow us both on Instagram and Facebook because we're posting a lot of information through that.
New things. There
There's
is
even
a surprise coming.
there's some more stuff coming and information to be released. But yeah, you can find us through either of our websites, and it has more information both about the retreats, about us individually, what we each do. And always do not hesitate to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions over Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever. If you're curious and you're not 100% sure, reach out to one of us and we'd love to answer your questions and give you a little bit of guidance in your decision making.
Awesome. Okay, well, that's awesome. Thanks, Carmen, so much. It's always a joy to chat with you. It's fun. And yeah, do check us out. You'll have all our contact information will be in the show notes. And yeah, I'm looking forward to this retreat so much, and I hope to see you there. Oh, like and subscribe. Thanks so much for joining me today. If you found a piece of your joy in this episode, I would love to hear about what came up for you so that we can continue to grow the impact of this show. Thanks again. See you soon. And remember, find your joy.